This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
New at 11 o'clock tonight, a closer look at the data that can tell you how Indiana is doing when it comes to the spread of COVID-19. We've spoken with countless people over the last 5 months impacted by the coronavirus.
And from doctors and nurses to survivors and families grieving for their loved ones.
We continue to learn new things about this virus.
So the people that are coming are very, very sick.
Testing should have been done so long ago.
People need to think of not just themselves, but of everyone else around them.
But despite all of these stories, there are still some who want to do their own research to see if this virus is as serious as those in the medical community say it is. RTV6's Cornelius Hawker shows you the best place to do that is the Regenstrief Institute's COVID-19 dashboard.
This is the Regenstrief COVID-19 dashboard.
The reason we created it is because at the beginning of this pandemic, many people wanted to know information about, where the virus was happening in the state and how many people were hospitalized.
That's Dr. Brian Dixon. Through his work with Regenstrief Institute and Fairbanks School of Public Health at IUPUI, he and his colleagues realized they had access to all sorts of information the public was asking about.
Now let's look at age and race and sex, and because people want to know about, who's getting this virus.
The COVID-19 dashboard has a breakdown for every demographic Brian just mentioned. You can see how many tests have been given in the state, and of those, how many were positive, the testing being done by each county, and how those positive tests break down by race along with age and sex. This information is updated every 24 hours.
That's why we created the dashboard, was to take information that was coming in electronically in the state and being able to rapidly make it available so that people could track the disease.
Another useful tool on the dashboard shows trends in the state. All this red right here means positive tests are increasing, along with emergency department visits, people being admitted to the hospital and ICU, along with deaths. Brian tells me that data speaks for itself, and he hopes Hoosiers decide to do something very simple, wear a mask, to help turn those trends around.
The mask is there to protect you in case you have it from giving it to other people. But when both people are using the mask, it can essentially reduce the risk of transmission to almost zero.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, RTV6.
And Dr. Dixon also says wearing a mask and social distancing can greatly reduce your chance of getting the virus. You can find a link to the Regenstrief Institute's COVID-19 dashboard in this story at theindychannel.com. And according to the latest update from the State Department of Health, 2,602 people in Indiana have died from COVID-19. 595,000 people have been tested for the virus. Around 9% have tested positive.
Now to the forecast as we take a live look at downtown Indianapolis. Rain is not an issue tonight. Kevin, will that continue is the question.
There will be a chance for rain over the weekend. Not significant, though. We'll get to that in a second. Boy, you can feel the moisture in the air, though. 72, and you may be able to see the moisture in the air and some patchy fog overnight. That wind is light, and as the skies clear, that is the stage or the recipe for some patchy light fog first thing in the morning. Okay, be patient. After the patchy fog, sunshine becomes the main player as we go to the afternoon. Already at noon, 82. Afternoon high temperature will hit 90 in Indianapolis. Other spots may reach the low 90s, Bedford and Seymour, for example. So there's a comet that you might be able to see without anything special. Just taking a look with your own eyes before going to bed tonight. I'll tell you where to look for it coming up.
State investigators say there is evidence of multiple crimes in connection to an alleged racist attack at Lake Monroe. There are several videos showing part of what happened. Vox Booker says a group of white men pinned him against a tree, shouted racial slurs, and threatened to lynch him on July 4th. An attorney representing one of the men, Sean Purdy, says Booker instigated the confrontation and the men merely restrained him. According to the recommendations from the Department of Natural Resources, Purdy and Booker are among those that could face charges, including battery. No charges have been filed. The Monroe County Prosecutor's Office is now reviewing the evidence. You can find more details from the DNR report on our website at theindychannel.com.
Fighting crime and violence is once again a top issue in Indianapolis, and this afternoon, city leaders announced some new efforts to help improve safety in different ways. IMPD officers will spend a specific amount of time in hotspot areas of their assigned beats, connecting with neighbors and making their presence visible. Research shows increased visibility and connectivity prevents and reduces crime. A radio and social media campaign will promote violence prevention programs and resources. And the Office of Public Health and Safety is partnering with the Domestic Violence Network to fund hotel stays, food vouchers, and other advocacy services for victims of domestic violence. The Director of Community Violence Reduction says shelters are not taking people right now due to the pandemic.
So we had to come up with a different creative way to get folks out and get them to safety. And so we went into an alternative housing program with hotels. And so we've been able to get up to date 13 families out of really bad situations. And they're most grateful. And the kids, you wouldn't believe the difference between when they first left and now.
Mayor Joe Hogsett also announced that cameras are being installed along the canal in downtown Indianapolis. There were 2 separate fatal shootings on the canal in recent weeks.
Indianapolis's homicide rate is already on track to outpace last year, and that is something many of the city's grassroots community leaders are not okay with. RTV6's Cameron Riddle takes us to Hallville, where organizers, clergy, police, and the mayor marched through the streets asking for peace.
Stop the violence! Stop the violence! On the west side of Indianapolis, there was a call to stop the violence and bring peace to the streets.
We are specifically here in Hallville because we have seen an unfortunate uptick of crime that has happened here. But more than anything, this is my home. This is my stomping ground. This is where I'm from. So I need to make sure that home is taken care of first.
Aaron Williams is the director of Peace in the Streets. Throughout this week, he's been asking for exactly that, in addition to a meeting with Indy's mayor and police chief to talk about creating neighborhood violence-free zones in hotspot crime areas. Hogville is one of them. Tonight, with a bullhorn in hand, Williams is asking the community to join that fight.
The police can't do it alone. The community can't do it alone. The business community can't do it alone. The clergy can't do it alone. It is a collective effort of everyone working together and saying the same message consistently. We want peace in our streets. We want the violence to end. We don't want you to use violence as a means to settle a dispute, and we want to eliminate the unnecessary homicides and murders that are happening in our city at an unprecedented rate.
As usual, Reverend Charles Harrison is vocal about Indy's rising crime rate, especially in the East Side neighborhoods patrolled by the 10-Point Coalition. Tonight, he's out of his usual patrol area to echo the message of peace needed in multiple parts of the city.
It's a citywide problem, and that's why, we all need to come together and help. There is no one silver bullet to this. There is no one program, one initiative that can curb the pattern of violence alone.
We will solve this problem. Right. We will bring peace to our streets. Right. And we will end the gun violence.
The call for peace is so loud, and the call for action is so urgent, it brought out Indianapolis mayors past and present.
I think it's evidence that this is a critical time for our city in its history, and we need to come together and encourage everyone to participate. Not just the mayor, not just IMPD, but the community as a whole. And I'm glad to see so many community members here.
In Indianapolis, Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
Cameron, thank you. These public safety peace marches will continue for the next several weeks, with the next 2 happening at East 34th Street and Keystone next Friday, and then at 29th Street and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Streets the following Friday.
Some families impacted by violence are creating their own programs to make a difference.
It took me literally 1 year to resolve, pick myself back up, and it was either I was going to sit and continue to lament and be heartbroken, or I was going to do something about it to begin to heal.
Craig Joseph's son, Christopher C.J. Joseph, was shot and killed while attending a jazz concert in 2016 at Watkins Park. He was only 26 years old. After struggling to overcome his grief, Craig decided to help other families. He started the Ho-Ha Foundation 3 years ago. Now he helps other families experiencing the same pain and loss.
Daryl G. Colbert's family, his stepson was shot in Muncie, 25. He was walking away from a fight. He passed away, and we were able to give them a substantial check to help with some of the funeral expenses.
The HoHa Foundation also works to prevent gun violence. On July 25th, the organization will host a panel discussion on the issue. For more info, go to theindychannel.com and click on this story.
A new program called Resources in the Park is another effort to reduce crime in Indianapolis. It's specifically aimed at helping young people. Representatives from local organizations that provide youth resources have been meeting in parks across the city, making connections and letting people know that different services are available.
A lot of people don't even know of the resources that are available, so you don't even know you have this need, but we can say that we can provide it anyway, so it is nice.
So we've got to find avenues to get them involved in more positive things and show them that there are other opportunities.
One of those positive opportunities is the city's Safe Summer program. It provides chaperoned activities for young people ages 13 and older, including sports, games, movies, and more. The program goes through August 14th, every Friday evening from 7 to 10 at Bethel Park, the Community Alliance of the Far East Side, and Municipal Gardens.
Coming up, FedEx is delivering new jobs to Johnson County. What we know tonight about the company's plan to build a new facility and hire Hoosiers.
The job market was bounced back pretty strongly in June, but we got to keep everything into perspective.
Which industries are rebounding and which are still struggling? Analysts weigh in on what could come next as the economy works to recover.
And next, a 10-year-old Central Indiana boy is in desperate need of a bone marrow transplant. Why doctors say there's only a 23% chance of finding an exact donor. Now you can help change that.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
A woman reached out to WRTV asking us to bring attention to a problem that could mean life or death for her son. Working for you, our Stephanie Wade spoke with the mother who is raising awareness about an urgent need in the African American community.
A 10-year-old boy's mother is worried inside this hospital that they won't be able to find a life-saving donor in time for her son. Juanita Perkins' son Brian has leukemia. He was first diagnosed last November, but then it came back. He's now in need of a bone marrow transplant because he relapsed so early.
I never thought this would happen to me. I never thought it would hit home because it's not hereditary. So it's just something that just happens, and I want you to go out and donate and think of your child.
According to Dr. Jody Skiles, Brian has a 23% chance of finding the exact donor he needs because fewer of the African American community are registered stem cell donors. Whereas for organ donation, it simply requires a blood type match. Stem cell requires specific DNA.
There's a huge gap there in terms of African American healthy people signing up to be donors, which means that African American patients are less likely to find a suitable donor.
Brian and his mother haven't left the hospital since June 17th. He's receiving chemotherapy in the meantime to get into remission so he can be eligible when that transplant does come. Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
And all you have to do to become a stem cell donor is first get your DNA tested through a cotton swab inside your cheek. And we have a link on our website where you can register and have the swab mailed to you, plus a link to the family's Facebook page, Keep BJ Strong, to follow Brian's journey.
An Indianapolis farm is throwing a big parking lot party. Starting Wednesday, July 29th, Waterman's Family Farm on the southeast side will become the site of a socially distant drive-in entertainment venue. There will be movies, games, music, karaoke, and comedy shows, which guests will enjoy from their cars. Customers can bring their own food and drinks or buy items from food trucks on site. You'll also be allowed to step outside of your vehicle and dance as long as you respect the space of the cars near you. For a full schedule of events and a link to buy tickets, go to theindychannel.com.
Kevin, for what was a gloomy day today, it was a beautiful evening.
It felt good. You know, this is one of our coolest days, Amanda, all month long. Okay, here's one more assignment before everybody goes to bed tonight. Give this a shot. Step outside and look to the northwest, low on the horizon, about 7.5 degrees above the horizon. See if you can find the comet Neowise. You don't need binoculars. You don't need a telescope. Just use your eyes and be patient. If you have some clouds in the way tonight, you've got another opportunity. Tomorrow night, it'll actually be a little higher above the horizon, and it will occur just a little bit later. Temperatures in the morning, they'll be in the 60s. That's significant because the rest of the 7-day forecast, temperatures won't be that cool during the overnight hours. They'll stay at 70 degrees or warmer. Again, patchy fog first thing in the morning. Few clouds around in the morning, more sunshine in the afternoon. Sunshine and humidity and temperatures around 90. You'll know summer is in full swing. And that's really a base temperature from which we'll warm up. Saturday and Sunday, temperatures climb even more. Sunday, temperatures peak, and with the humidity, you're looking at heat index values that will climb into the triple digits. It's about as humid as it gets. Any rain that we've had recently helps add to some of the moisture in the atmosphere. Remember last night at this time, thunderstorms were still ongoing, none strong, and didn't produce a lot of rain, but at least it was some rain. Saturday, noon, 87. As we get to the afternoon hours, slight chance for a shower or thunderstorm in that 2 to about 7 o'clock window. The high hits 93 in Indy. To the north, temperatures not quite as warm, and a thunderstorm may cool you off in the afternoon or evening, but probably not. Temperature in Indy, 93. Our warmest temperature so far has been 95 this summer. 93, the predicted temperature in Seymour. 7 a.m. Saturday, not much happening. As we go to the afternoon, I'll stop this 1 o'clock, a few more clouds developing, and by 4 or 5, you begin to see a couple spotty areas of green. Those would be the isolated thunderstorms that develop in the heat and humidity, continue into the evening hours. Remember, the sun isn't setting until after 9 o'clock. 30% chance for thunderstorms, a 105-degree heat index on Sunday afternoon. Sunday's temperature is the warmest in the 7-day forecast. What happens early next week, our rain chances will increase, so will the cloud cover. That will bring a decrease in the temperature. It'll still be above average, but temperatures in the upper 80s with our most numerous thunderstorms, better coverage of thunderstorms Tuesday and Wednesday.
Thank you, Kevin. Hiring Hoosiers is connecting you to job opportunities as the pandemic continues, and FedEx says it's going to Johnson County after all. The company initially announced plans for a distribution facility near the I-65 Worsville Road interchange 3 years ago. 1 year later, FedEx said it made a data-driven decision not to build at that location. But now the shipping giant says it will open a distribution center in Greenwood, and it plans to be open by the holiday rush. FedEx says the facility will hire about 100 full-time workers and 400 part-time workers. For more info, go to hiringhoosiers.com.
Shipping and supply chain companies have stayed busy throughout the economic crisis, but as you know, many other industries have been devastated. Scripps reporter Alicia Nieves shows where the jobs are rebounding and where there are new concerns moving forward.
There's been a significant bounce back in the U.S. job market, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics' latest monthly unemployment report. 4.8 million people were able to go back to work in June. Businesses in hospitality and leisure, food services and drinking, and retail were able to do the most rehiring.
The job market was bounced back pretty strongly in June, but we got to keep everything into perspective.
Ryan Sweet is an economist with Moody's Analytics.
You're looking at where we were prior to the coronavirus. We're still down roughly 15 million jobs. That's an enormous hole.
Economists like Sweet say the job rebound in June is likely over, and brace because at best the U.S. job market will likely reflect a lull for July.
The lull is, it's unclear how long that will last. We're hoping just through, the end of this year.
Hoping because as coronavirus cases continue to surge,
there's a possibility we actually see a decline in employment.
Companies like United and American Airlines are already signaling a warning to Congress, both recently reporting they may have to each lay off 25,000 workers, and analysts predict if other airlines have to do the same, the industry could lose up to 250,000 jobs. More concerning is that the airline industry is not the only sector now signaling serious job loss to come.
The ones that I'm most nervous about are state and local government, because it seems that there's less urgency for lawmakers to pass fiscal stimulus. If we don't get another round of fiscal stimulus, this lull is going to turn into a contraction.
Congress has been talking for 2 months about another stimulus package, but there is no clear signal that one will come in time.
The fact that we are still seeing new filings in excess of 1 million per week is alarming. It's heartbreaking.
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Baseball is back at Victory Field, and today the home of the Indians hosted a College Summer League All-Star game. The stadium will host 2 more games this month, next Thursday and July 30th. And the Indians partnered with the College Summer League at Grand Park to host a handful of games. WRTV's Brad Brown explains why many players would not have been able to play ball this summer without this league in tonight's Sports Extra Spotlight.
The boys of summer are getting a second chance to salvage something of a season.
It gets a little chippy sometimes between teams and everything, but definitely it's a fun atmosphere for sure. I know that from my friends that also play in the league, it's definitely like something that where we have that still competitive edge and everything, but all around it's a fun time.
Westfield's Grand Park is hosting the College Summer League, a dozen teams filled with around 400 players, largely from Central Indiana and the Midwest.
Getting that, the information that they weren't going to be playing ball and then getting this response back, they were definitely excited to have a place to play. A lot of the guys enjoyed the way we've gone about it. Instead of playing 70 games, we're getting everyone 30 games.
From Division I talent down through to the junior college ranks, all of these players share the common thread of having their original spring plans to play canceled by COVID-19.
It means a lot to me because I was originally going to go down to the Prospect League down south in Terre Haute, Indiana, and just the ability to actually come out here and actually play at Grand Park. I mean, I live 20 minutes right down the road, so it's nice to be on like great facilities and all that other stuff.
A handful of these guys will be getting strong looks from Major League scouts. For many of them, though, it's simply a chance to be on the field, when that prospect seemed grim just a few months ago.
We focus all of our program on training, so we're not over-pitching anyone, we're not overplaying anyone. We have trainers on staff that assist them at our indoor facility.
We've gravitated towards some college baseball, and now without not having any Indians games, and to be able to bring some of these college kids out, give them a unique experience, all-star game, regular season game, and then a championship game, we feel really good about it.
The now common threads of playing during a pandemic are easy to spot around Grand Park.
We have to continuously remind people, hey, follow these guidelines, listen to us. We're trying to keep everybody safe here.
But once they step between the lines, it's just baseball.
Once we get on the field, before the game during BP, we'll joke around a little bit. Once we get on the field, it's like down to business. It's like, hey, we want to be the best team.
In Westfield, Brad Brown, RTV6 Sports.
And remember to join the RTV6 Facebook page on Friday to help honor graduating seniors. Sports Director Dave First will host the National Football Foundation Central Indiana Chapter Annual Scholastic Awards. Student athletes from across the area will be recognized. Watch Friday night at 7:30 only on the RTV6 Facebook page. We'll be right back.
Here comes the sun. These are the closest images ever taken of the sun, according to NASA and the European Space Agency. The new solar orbiter mission, which launched in February, captured the pictures last month. Some of the things you can see include small solar flares, which are called campfires near the sun's surface. This was Solar Orbiter's first close pass of the sun. Close, in this case, means more than 47 million miles away. Kevin.
Okay, everybody, grab your calendar, your 2024 calendar, and write down Monday, April 8th. Mark that down. Total solar eclipse and the path of totality through Indy. Oh, and by the way, it's going to be warm next 3 days. Amanda, you ready for the total eclipse?
I'm going to be looking for it. All right, thanks for making RTV6 your choice for news. Good Morning Indiana starts at 4:30.